Demonology. In ancient Babylon, demonology had an influence on even the most mundane elements of life, from petty annoyances to the emotions of love and hatred. The numerous demonic spirits were given charge over various parts of the human body, one for the head, one for the neck, and so on. Greek philosophers such as Porphyry, who claimed influence from Platonism, and the fathers of the Christian Church, held that the world was pervaded with spirits, the latter of whom advanced the belief that demons received the worship directed at pagan gods. According to some societies, all the affairs of life are supposed to be under the control of spirits, each ruling a certain element or even object, and themselves in subjection to a greater spirit. For example, the Inuit are said to believe in spirits of the sea, earth and sky, the winds, the clouds and everything in nature. Every cove of the seashore, every point, every island and prominent rock has its guardian spirit. All are potentially of the malignant type, to be propitiated by an appeal to knowledge of the supernatural. Traditional Korean belief posits countless demons inhabit the natural world, they fill household objects and are present in all locations. By the thousands they accompany travelers, seeking them out from their places in the elements. The common conception of demons, the horns, the hooves, the red skin, and pitchforks, is a concoction of Christianity. During the Christian Church's rise, the religion was able to simply stomp out most religions with the backing of the Roman Empire. But some proved more resilient than others due to how deeply they were lodged in human consciousness. Many of those religions and concepts were absorbed by the Christian cosmology, with regional demigods and deities becoming saints. But this tack didn't work for one of the most resilient deities, the horned god. There was no room in Christianity for such an entity, as his worship would undermine the religion's central tenets, the emptiness of the physical world and the promise of a better one beyond it, and yet, the horned god was too deeply ingrained in the zeitgeist to simply wipe out. So Christianity recast the horned god and his followers as antagonists, the devil and his legions of demons. In the Egyptian context, what we term magic and demon, drawing on our own cultural heritage, are not seen as negative aspects of cultural practice and conceptualization. Similarly, the Egyptian equivalents do not carry the pejorative connotations borne by the modern terms and their Greek antecedents. Magic and demons can be forces for good as well as evil. Indeed, the practice of magic and the conceptualization of personified demonic agents are central to the Egyptian understanding of the workings of the world, from the very continuation of the cosmos itself down to the vicissitudes of existence faced by individuals. The Temple of the Black Light. The Temple of the Black Light is a satanic organization dedicated to summoning the 11 great demon lords, also known as the 11 anticosmic gods, hence the 11-pointed star. They use a type of magic discovered by the great occultist Aleister Crowley, known as chaos magic, to summon demons into this world. Many of their teachings come from an ancient grimoire called Liber Azerate. For them, they are not just demons, but anticosmic gods of destruction. For the Temple of the Black Light, summoning the 11 great demon lords will allow for the creation of the 11-headed black dragon, as the demon lords will fuse into one supreme being of darkness. Then, the black dragon will devour the universe and end all life. Temple members also ascribe to chaosophy, a theory of thought that states that chaos is the true form the universe is meant to take, and that by annihilating the current cosmos and breaking away from the three-dimensional plane. By doing this, the universe will return to an infinite state of chaos that is limitless. Molech. Molech, a Semitic root meaning king, also rendered as Molech, Moloch, or Melech, is the name of an ancient Ammonite god. Moloch worship was practiced by the Canaanites, Phoenician and related cultures in North Africa and the Levant. As a god worshipped by the Phoenicians and Canaanites, Molech had associations with a particular kind of propitiatory child sacrifice by parents. Molech figures in the Book of Deuteronomy and in the Book of Leviticus as a form of idolatry, Leviticus 18:21, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech. In the Hebrew Bible, Gehenna was a valley by Jerusalem, where apostate Israelites and followers of various Baalim and Canaanite gods, including Molech, sacrificed their children by fire. Jeremiah 7:31, other references to Molech used by only in the context of passing children through fire. Though the Molech sacrifices have traditionally been understood to mean burning children alive to the god Molech, some have suggested a rite of purification by fire instead, though perhaps a dangerous one. Spirits of Solomon. The aerial spirits of Solomon are jinn associated with the four elements who were commanded by the legendary King Solomon. The aerial spirits are both good and evil. They can show anything in the world that is hidden and can fetch, carry, and do anything contained in the four elements of earth, air, water, and fire. They can discover the secrets of anyone, including kings. The aerial spirits are governed by 31 princes who are aligned to points on a compass. They can be summoned by directing oneself to their compass position. The princes have dukes and myriad ministering spirits or demons under their command. The princes cannot be summoned by magic unless the magician wears their special seals as a layman or pendant upon the chest. The conjurations of the aerial spirits are given in a grimoire, the Lemagton, also known as the Lesser Key of Solomon. 72 jinn captured by the legendary King Solomon, who imprisoned them in a brass vessel and cast it into the sea. The vessel was discovered by Babylonians, who believed it contained a great treasure. When they broke open the vessel, the demons and their legions were set free, and they returned to their home. One exception was Belial, who entered an image and delivered oracles in exchange for sacrifices and divine honors. The Lemagton, or Lesser Key of Solomon, is a grimoire that gives instructions for the evocation of the 72 spirits. They are also known as the spirits of the brazen vessel and the false monarchy of demons. Combined, the spirits accomplish all abominations. According to traditions, the jinn stood behind the learned humans in Solomon's court, who in turn sat behind the prophets. The jinn remained in the service of Solomon, who had placed them in bondage, and had ordered them to perform a number of tasks. And before Solomon were marshaled his hosts of jinn and men and birds, and they were all kept in order and ranks. Qn 27:17. The Qn relates that Solomon died while he was leaning on his staff. As he remained upright, propped on his staff, the jinn thought he was still alive and supervising them, so they continued to work. They realized the truth only when Allah sent a creature to crawl out of the ground and gnaw at Solomon's staff until his body collapsed. The Quran then comments that if they had known the unseen, they would not have stayed in the humiliating torment of being enslaved. Then, when we decreed Solomon's death, nothing showed them his death except a little worm of the earth, which kept, slowly, gnawing away at his staff. So when he fell down, the jinn saw plainly that if they had known the unseen, they would not have tarried in the humiliating penalty of their task. Qn 34:14. The names of the demons who attended Solomon son of David. They are 7. They, the demons, assert that Solomon son of David, for whom may there be peace, sat in audience, and summoned the chief of the jinn and the devils, whose name was Fuctus, to review them. So Fuctus taught him to know the name of each demon, one by one, and also its influence over the sons of Adam. Then he, Solomon, imposed upon them a contract and a pledge. After he had adjured them by that pledge and they had complied, they departed. The pledges were, in the name of Allah, exalted, mighty, and magnified. Beelzebub. According to Demonology's law, when Satan first rebelled, he recruited several very powerful seraphim, Beelzebub among them, to fight at his side. Once he took up his new residence in hell, Beelzebub learned to tempt men with pride. When summoned by witches or sorcerers, he appeared in the form of a fly, because Lord of the Flies was his creation, as it were. He'd acquired it by visiting a plague of flies upon the harvest of Canaan, or, perhaps, simply because flies were once believed to be generated in the flesh of decaying corpses. Another tale suggests that God created every creature, except the fly, which was made by the devil. Beelzebub came to be regarded as the leading representative of the fallen gods, referred to as the devil himself. In Matthew 12:24 he is mentioned as Prince of the Devils, and this appellation has stuck, even though Milton has him next in rank to Satan. Beelzebub was Prince of the Seraphim, the next unto Lucifer. For all the princes, that is to say all the chief of the 9 choirs of angels, are fallen, and of the choir of seraphim there fell the 3 first, to wit, Lucifer, Beelzebub, and Leviathan, who did all revolt. There are some of the school of the theologians who distribute the evil spirits into 9 degrees, as contrary to the 9 orders of the angels. Therefore the first of these are those which are called false gods, who usurping the name of God, would be worshipped for gods, and require sacrifices and adorations, as that devil, who saith to Christ, If thou wilt fall down and worship me, I will give thee all these things, showing him all the kingdoms of the world, and the prince of these is he who said, I will ascend above the height of the clouds, and will be like to the Most High, who is therefore called Beelzebub, that is, an old god. Then I summoned Beelzebub to appear before me again. When he was seated, I thought it appropriate to ask him, Why are you alone, prince of the demons? He replied, Because I am the only one left of the heavenly angels, who fell. I was the highest ranking angel in heaven, the one called Beelzebub. There is also accompanied me another ungodly angel, whom God cut off, and now, imprisoned here, he holds in his power the race of those bound by me in Tartarus. He is being nurtured in the Red Sea. When he is ready, he will come in triumph. I said to him, What are your activities? He replied, I bring destruction by means of tyrants, I cause the demons to be worshipped alongside men, and I arouse desire in holy men and select priests. I bring about jealousies and murders in a country, and I instigate wars.